everybody, today I'm going to show you how to make my 3 cheese spinach roll for your next party appetizer. These spinach rolls have such cheesy goodness, are vegetarian friendly, and take only 30 minutes to make. And for those meat lovers out there, I haven't forgotten about you. I'll also be showing you how to make these sausage rolls, which are always a hit at a party. We have a lot to cover today, so let's get started. First up is our spinach and 3 cheese rolls. Let's start by preheating our oven to 400 degrees. To make this recipe super simple, let's use some frozen spinach. We need about 100 grams of frozen spinach. Don't worry about getting the perfect measurement. This recipe is quite spinach friendly. Put your spinach into the microwave for about 30 seconds to 1 minute to thaw it out. Once your spinach is completely thawed and no longer frozen, drain your spinach into a colander. Then take a fork and press down on the spinach to make sure all the water is removed. Once you got your spinach as dry as you can get it, let's put it into a large bowl. This should be about 1/3 cup of drained spinach. Let's bring on the cheese. Add a 1/2 cup of creamy ricotta cheese, followed by a 1/4 cup of cheddar cheese, and finally a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. Our 3 cheese trio is complete. Now let's add 2 tablespoons of breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs will keep the spinach rolls together, and add 1/2 teaspoon of salt. It's mixing time! Mix together your spinach and cheese mixture until it's fully combined. I found a fork is the easiest tool for this job. Let's put our spinach and cheese mixture aside. I use some frozen puff pastry sheets for this recipe. All you need to do is defrost them from the freezer for about 10 minutes at room temperature. Cut your puff pastry in half and they're ready to use. You can find them in the freezer aisle at your local supermarket. You can see if you buy the puff pastry sheets, there's no rolling involved. Alright, let's bring back our delicious 3 cheese and spinach filling. Put on about half of your filling. Now shape your spinach and cheese filling into a long roll and fold it over just like this. Don't worry about it looking perfect. As long as the seam ends up on the bottom side, it's good to go. Now do the exact same thing for the second roll. Use the rest of your spinach filling and let's speed through this. Now this part will make our spinach and cheese roll extra pretty. Crack 1 large egg into a bowl and add about 1 teaspoon of water. This is our egg wash. And now let's beat our egg wash together. Now spread your egg wash onto the top and side of your spinach and cheese roll. Make sure you don't skip this step because it'll make your puff pastry so beautiful. Okay, let's cut our spinach roll into bite-sized pieces. For bite-sized pieces, cut them into about 16 equal pieces. Feel free to cut them into larger pieces if you're serving them as a lunch option. This step is totally optional, but if you want them to look pretty, sprinkle on some sesame seeds. Onto a foil-lined pan, we'll spray some non-stick cooking oil. Now let's put our cute and dainty spinach and cheese roll onto the pan. It's baking time! Bake your spinach roll at a 400 degrees Fahrenheit oven for about 20 minutes. And watch them rise. And there you have it. Spinach and cheese roll that your family and friends won't get enough of. Let's change gears and let me show you how to make these sausage rolls. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Let's start by finely dicing a 1/4 cup of yellow onions. Into a mixing bowl, add a 1/2 pound of lean ground pork to your bowl. Then add your finely diced onion and 2 cloves of shaved garlic. The reason I shaved the garlic was I didn't want large chunks of garlic to be in the sausage roll. You could also mince it too if you like. Now that we're done with the aromatics, let's add 1/2 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I also like to add some dried herbs to these sausage rolls. Let's add a 1/4 teaspoon of thyme and a 1/4 teaspoon of rosemary. Now let's add 2 tablespoons of plain breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs will help bind everything together. Let's mix together our sausage filling. You could also use your hands for this part if you like. Make sure all the ingredients are well combined. Time to bring out the puff pastries. This part is exactly the same as the spinach and cheese rolls. You're using pastry sheets. Make sure to defrost them for 10 minutes before using them. Alright, let's put half of our meat filling onto our puff pastry and form it into a long log roll. Let's roll your puff pastry just like this. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as the seam ends up on the bottom, you've done great. Now do the exact same thing with the remaining meat filling. This recipe makes enough to feed 4 people an appetizer serving. You can always make these sausage rolls a day in advance and bake them on the day you're serving. Now spread some egg wash just like we did the spinach and cheese roll. Remember, it's 1 large egg and 1 teaspoon of water beaten together. Now spread your egg wash all over your sausage rolls. Make sure you get the top and the side of the sausage roll equally, just so it puffs up extra beautiful. Now cut your sausage roll into 16 pieces. If you want a cleaner cut than I got here, you could put your sausage roll in the fridge for about 10 minutes before cutting. Now let's drizzle on some sesame seeds. I chose to use black sesame seeds so they look different from the spinach rolls. Onto a foil-lined pan, spray some canola oil. Now evenly place your sausage rolls onto the pan. It's baking time! Bake your sausage roll in a 400 degrees Fahrenheit oven for 25 minutes. And watch them rise. And there you have it. Beautiful and delicious sausage rolls. Serve it with ketchup for the perfect pairing. They'll disappear at your party so fast that you might have to make another batch. Thanks for watching. I hope these party rolls will make it on your next party platter.